Okay, we've just got to the end of day 18 of the Undercover Policing Inquiry, Tranche 2, Phase 2. We've been listening to the live evidence of Helen Steel. I'm joined by Eveline Lubbers of the Undercover Research Group. What do you think of Helen's evidence today?
Well, Helen did great. It was a difficult day for her. It was the first time she gave evidence. It's not yet about her relationship with... It's not yet about her relationship with Dines. That's going to be the undercover officer she was deceived into a relationship with. It was just about Lambert and Bob Lambert and all the reports he wrote about her activities. It was in fact after we had like a short introduction into her sort of how she became an activist from 60 years when she was 60 years old. To summarize, it was one big list of reports that Lambert wrote and where he alleged that she was involved in things, that he alleged that she was a leading ALF activist at the age of 21, and she was like really sort of complete pack of lies. It's a combination of what did she say, speculation and lies. And I just overheard her afterwards that on the report she had, like stretched bullshit. She was told that she was not allowed to use that word during the hearing, so she had to bite the tip of her tongue to be sort of civilized, which she did very well, really. And there was one moment where, although they had promised that they wouldn't get to the topic of John Dines today, they started to read out a very long report that said all kind of awful things about her, and she froze. She really froze. She couldn't speak anymore. And it was quite clear that she needed a break at that moment, and Mitting was very accommodating. He was very worried that she'd feel good enough and that she wouldn't get tired enough, because this is doing a lot to her to have to go through thousands of pages of evidence and to basically relive everything. So she's been like tired and stressed, but in that context it went reasonably well. Yeah, very well in fact. Yeah, she was very clear.
Yeah, I thought she was incredibly clear. It was also very clear that she was like incredibly familiar with the content. With a lot of witnesses, they're presented with the report. They're like looking at the report. Like, what's this about? I mean, literally, as soon as the report was mentioned, Helen was like, she knew it. She was very like, this is lies, and she was going ahead. She was like ahead of the questioner, going like, yeah, that next paragraph's all lies as well. It was. She's obviously. I mean, she's got such a. She's across the detail of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been particularly frustrating for her that she hasn't had the full disclosure in like a sensible sort of time period. And the way she's made up for that is working incredibly hard to make sure that she's read everything in advance of being questioned on it. Today was only the first day of her giving evidence about Bob Lambert's infiltration of her life and the group she was involved with. On Friday, we'll be hearing a lot more about Debenhams, which. Appears to be like the main part of what our evidence is used for, and Mitting was very clear that that was the important thing. Excuse me. I think Mitting was particularly sympathetic today. I mean, he was really good yesterday actually with Belinda. But I thought he was really good today. He was quite happy to have breaks at any time. He was quite happy to move on. He was quite happy for the topic to be changed if Helen was finding it difficult. Which I think is really good. A lot of us were quite concerned because of how he's behaved in the past, that he might not be quite as understanding and sympathetic, but I think that was quite good. In terms of this afternoon's evidence, there was a lot of we went over a lot of the same ground we've gone over before about like the relationship between London Greenpeace and the Animal Liberation Front. I don't think there was anything particularly new there. Maybe a few bits about the support animal rights prisoners, which she was very involved in. Helen's very, very clear-minded about pretty much all of it. We heard a whole bunch of stuff about her protesting against a pornography cinema, but that was new, I guess. But other than that, it was pretty much all stuff we were familiar with before.
Yes, but she was very clear about her role in things. Like ALF Supporters Group is just doing admin stuff and nothing else, like Lambert has implied. I noticed that she said the same thing that Jeff said in his Jeff Shepard in his evidence, that she got the feeling that Lambert had put her name, where actually he was the one who rode the van or organised the transport or organised an action. And like you said, the action against the cinema, the porn cinema, was a very good example where she said she was arrested for there was a lot. It was in the context of a lot of action against porn and porn movies, and this was a movie that only showed the porn, and the only thing they did was that her and a friend went to talk to men who came out of the cinema about why they were watching it, and they got arrested for that. And she gave a very clear example in the sense that she said, like, this is a very sort of, this is how it was. Like you do like a very simple action, and you get arrested for basically doing nothing, while like nothing is being done against that cinema and against the harm done to women.
Yeah, I mean, she particularly contrasted that with the levels of sexual assault that were taking place just generally at that time, but in that area as well. I mean, I think there was a lot of we got into quite a lot of reports today. Most of them we'd seen before, I think, though.
I think so.
Yeah, there was. It was going over a lot of the same ground. There was a whole bunch of stuff about like kind of where Bob Lambert like kind of inserted that she was involved in projects where she really wasn't. With the Anarchists for Animals, the production of London ALF News, stuff like that. But I think we'll learn a lot more. I think on Friday from Helen. Tomorrow we've got Jackie, who was the woman who Bob Lambert deceived into a long-term relationship and and had a child with. So I mean, I think that'll be interesting. Is there anything I want to add before we get out of here?
No, not really.
Okay, no worries. All right, thanks for joining us. I'll do a Twitter Spaces this evening. I don't know, probably I'll try and do it a bit earlier than usual because we finished in quite good time, because this is often the case when someone is doing more than one day of hearings. They tend to finish at a sensible time. So, yeah, I'll see you all later. Cheers.